Welcome to the Automation Unplugged podcast, the podcast for technology professionals, featuring leading industry personalities. I'm your host, Ron Callis.
Let's get started.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Automation Unplugged Marketing Experts, where we talk candidly about what actually works when it comes to growing your AV business. Today's episode is all about a marketing crossroads that many integrators find themselves in, either trying to do everything themselves or doing, well, nothing at all. One is exhausting and the other one leaves you invisible, and both are holding your business back. So that's why today's episode is called From DIY to Delegation, when it's time to bring in a marketing team. Whether you're posting sporadically on Instagram between job sites or haven't touched your website since 2017, we're here to talk about how bringing the right support can make all of the difference. First up, joining me from the One Firefly team is Katie. Katie helps integrators structure and scale their marketing with the right strategy and the right systems. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kat. It's great to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your role at One Firefly?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been in the world of digital marketing for about 10 years now. And I've been with One Firefly for a little over 3 years. And just recently in February, I actually received a promotion here where I'm now leading the account management team. So if you're doing digital marketing with us or have any type of content marketing services, you will have an account manager assigned to you. And they're there as your partner and your advocate for One Firefly through our integrated internal teams. And we're just driving you to success.
Thanks, Katie. And can you say your last name for everyone? I did not want to attempt it.
Yes, so it's Frogge. I get asked that a lot, as you can probably imagine. A lot of people call me Froggy or Frogge or something along those lines. I made fun of my husband a lot when we first got together, and now joke's on me because I have the last name. So
I was going to go with Froggy, but I'm glad I didn't
totally
try. Glad I didn't try. Well, and okay, so thanks, Katie. Let's go to our next special guest, who I'm very excited to have on the show today. She's going to be representing the integrator perspective, and that is Melissa Mitchell from Wipliance, who, as many of you may know, is an integrator widely known as an absolute standout in our industry, especially when it comes to content creation and the overall customer experience. If you haven't seen their marketing yet, you are truly missing out. Wipliance sets the bar with their captivating video content, including project tours and product spotlights that bring technology to life in a way that no other integrator can match. Their YouTube channel is practically a masterclass in showcasing smart homes, luxury spaces, and cutting-edge technology integration. Beyond video, Wipliance is a proven leader in the AV industry, consistently earning recognition and prestigious awards from some names you may know, like CE Pro, CEDIA, and Control4, just to name a few. Their featured projects regularly make waves in industry press, and their case studies reflect an unmatched commitment to delivering next-level experiences for their clients. Melissa's here today to share her insights into how Wipliance balances their own exceptional in-house marketing initiatives, like their outstanding video content and community-focused events, with strategic support from One Firefly, enabling them to continuously elevate their brand and achieve consistent growth. So welcome, Melissa. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I am with Wipliance. I am the marketing manager, and I also am a little bit of a system designer as well on the lighting and shading side specifically. I have been with Wipliance for 10 years now, and I'm originally from North Carolina. I help with crafting our brand messaging and all that digital marketing and video that you mentioned. Thank you for that amazing description. I've got a little bit of a hat rack, but I love my job. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Thanks, Melissa, and thanks for being here. So we're going to start off easy. We're going to ease everybody into this. So, Katie, why do you think so many integrators either try to do everything themselves or avoid marketing entirely?
Yeah, great question. So I think most integrators are wired as entrepreneurs, not marketers, right? They got into the business because they're passionate about technology and problem solving, but not necessarily because they wanted to run Facebook ads or write blogs or do anything like that. So when it comes to marketing, there's often a lack of knowledge or maybe a comfort level or even trust. And I think that they either try to DIY because they don't really know where to turn to, or they avoid it altogether because they've been burned by maybe empty promises or generic agencies in the past. And I also think that there's a perception that marketing is optional, or it's only for companies that are struggling. But in reality, the most successful integrators are the ones who are consistently building their brand.
I love that. I think that's a great point. I think you hit on something really smart there. And I think another thing too, maybe, is that sometimes integrators have maybe tried marketing, did it themselves, didn't do super well. And so then they're like, yeah, it doesn't work. I don't need that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Melissa. Well, for you guys at Wipliance, there's a point where doing all of it or doing nothing starts, hurting more than helping. So we'll talk about the tipping point. How does an integrator know when it's time to stop DIYing and bring in outside help?
Sure. So, I mean, there's several levels to that, right? One perfect example is, do you have a dedicated person that is within their role, or is that somebody who is a hybrid position? Maybe that's an owner or an admin that is doing a few social posts here and there. And what's the opportunity cost of that person working on that and learning through it versus hiring a professional that knows how to target audiences and reach the people that you want and help to efficiently spend an ad budget, right? You can burn through an ad budget very fast if you don't know what you're doing and who you're targeting. So to have that help to really, I like to call it the sniper method, really get in there and figure out exactly who you're trying to target. You need a professional, I think, at a certain level when you've got a certain amount of investment. And there's also, all the platforms want consistency of posting, right? They want content happening on a regular basis. So if you're the kind of business owner that only posts on Facebook when there's something super relevant in that moment or timely, then you may be missing out on audiences without having that content calendar. And, having One Firefly on our team has allowed us to grow, obviously, what we're doing internally and take on bigger projects such as our video and our partner marketing with manufacturers. And we have people that can help support us with some of that regularly scheduled programming. I'm still crafting that messaging and the calendars, so I have control over what is happening and what's going out to clients, and I review everything in advance. Your team is very great about giving me that transparency where we can catch things well before they go live. But that me actually creating all of that content and putting that out would be a much bigger time investment if I was doing it all on my own. And there's an opportunity cost there to have me do all of that.
I think you just nailed it with two key words, time and investment.
Yeah.
Because those are both real things, right? So figuring that out is important. Okay.
It's like when it starts costing you more in missed opportunities than it's actually saving you money, or if you're like guessing more than strategizing, right? So
yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Or if you just want to dip your toe in the water and don't want to invest in bringing a person in to actually do that at your company, you can, we're like a little bit of a subcontractor. You can hire that out until you're ready to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we've started it out a little bit. We've got a good little momentum going here, guys. And now we're going to do my favorite part of all of these, is play a little game. You guys want to play a little game?
Sure.
Everybody ready to play a little game? This is the little game that we are going to play. It's called Delegate It or DIY It. So what we're going to do is I'm going to list out some common marketing techniques, and you guys are both going to tell me whether you DIY or delegate it. Okay?
Hey.
Everybody ready? You guys all hyped?
I'm excited. It'll be fun to see what we each say.
I will be keeping score. There will be a winner at the end, as always in our games. Okay, so here is the first one. And this is a little bit of a combination, so go with me here. But SEO and content writing, DIY or delegate?
I would say delegate.
Melissa?
I would say delegate definitely for SEO, 100% for SEO.
Mm-hmm.
For content writing, I would say yes, work with a professional if you do not consider yourself a writer, right? If that is not one of your strengths. I love it. So I love to help craft that messaging, but that's not going to be everybody's strength. So I would say if you love it, have a hand in that messaging, maybe get input from a professional if you're consistently doing that writing as well, to make sure that that is resonating the way that you want it. There are marketing consultants that can help with that.
Yeah.
Okay. DIY or delegate, capturing customer testimonials or case study videos?
So,
DIY
yeah,
or
so
delegate? Go on.
it's interesting. You're giving me two things each time. So,
Definitely.
customer testimonials. Yes, 100%. There are professional services out there that can help you collect those very quickly and put them directly on Google, so that you're not having to follow that up. I do think that there's a very powerful layer to that when our technicians are asking for that review in the living room as an added layer. But then they're able to give them a quick link or a QR code. That's where your services make that really easy for us to facilitate getting those reviews and making sure that they go out. Case study videos, I'm a DIY that, because we're the
Yep.
video house, right?
You are.
That being said, there are companies that need to bring on a firm to do that, and that's a very powerful tool when you have video production brought in as well.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I would say DIY for both of them. But to your point, having some type of reputation management software or an easy way for your team to get involved around that is something that's very, very important as well. But it's definitely something that you have to get your team rallied around, and something that they have to be willing to do, and asking. And you made a good point too. There's that pivotal moment in the living room, or when you're closing out a job or something. And then from a case study standpoint, definitely DIY collecting that information, but having a trusted partner that you can pass that over to be able to make it do things across the internet is a great point as well.
Okay. All right, here we go. Just one for you, Melissa, this time. It's just one now. Website design. DIY, delegate?
Definitely a professional. I think the benchmarks are always moving in terms of, there's an expression I like to use when it comes to websites. You are designing for the search engine, and then you're also designing for the eye, and you really have to balance both of those things. Sometimes marketing firms can lean too much towards designing for search engines, right? So it's very important that they have separate people on their team that are dedicated more towards the graphic design of it all, and making sure that it looks really good both on a desktop, and of course, as we know, more and more mobile friendly. It must become mobile friendly because we live on our phones. So that's where having a professional that's going to think about designing for all those things, how fast are the photos and videos loading, all those little nuances. Again, there's an opportunity cost for bringing all that in-house if you have a dedicated person that can do it, but likely their salary is going to be much higher than hiring a professional.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. Or if you have someone like a Melissa on your team who sometimes just gets right in there and learns how to make the edits, which I think is really cool too. You have some people that are comfortable jumping into the back end of a website and making tweaks and doing things, but then you have other people that are just not comfortable. And bringing in a professional to help you design and manage and keep all of your technical elements up to date, the speed of your site, all of those things is extremely important. It's really not just about putting some pages together and some images or video and some copy. There's so much on the back end that has to be managed as well for a successful website.
You bring up a good point, though, in terms of having a good CMS, a content management system that is easy to use. It's always been very important to me as somebody who's a bit of a Swiss Army knife and can get in there and maybe do a little bit of design. Occasionally I'll crawl our site and I'll see a piece of content that is like, maybe that could be updated, or maybe that photo could be swapped out. And it's nice that if I feel comfortable to do so, I am empowered by your team and have the tools to be able to go in and make that quick change. It saves saves me time, effort, energy sometimes to make that quick change myself. It depends on what it is, right? But there's other pages that I crawl and I'm like, oh man, this one really needs an overhaul, and like the look of it needs to be changed. And that would be where I would want to bring somebody in, because they can maybe give me a couple of ideas, right? They're going to give me some different perspectives. You do have a lot of really amazing templates built into your CMS as well that can give a good foundation for if I need to build my own little page within the website you guys have provided. So even if I maybe am feeling less graphically inspired that day, I would say the templates are a good solid foundation.
Okay. Creating social media content, DIY or delegate?
Ooh. I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it's both.
Yeah, that's both.
100%.
There we go. We're on the same page. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be timely things. We do events, especially right after I do a big video launch, usually that initial post that's going like right when the YouTube goes live, that's all happening very fast. And so there are certain things that are more timely that just have to be in-house with the nature of content calendars and teams working on something. But yeah, having messaging that's hitting on different points and seasonally relevant and is happening consistent, that's where you have that back end of support.
Okay. In addition to creating the social content, then the next step of that, which I think is where you guys were going, but DIY or delegate, social media scheduling and consistent posting.
Yeah, that's
where we were going.
That's where the professional comes in, right? Making sure that you've got that constant presence, that you are, like there's certain manufacturers that I want to make sure that I'm hitting on a consistent basis because they're key vendors for us, or, partner specifiers that we have in our community as well, making sure that we're having that combo platter of different topics. And then again, we have different seasons. We operate both in Arizona and in Washington. So there's things that are relevant to Arizona at certain times of the year, and there's things that are relevant to Washington at certain times of the year. And as our relationship has deepened year over year, you guys have kind of come to predict some of those things as well, which is nice.
No.
No.
I'll also say too that, social media, like our social media team has data and insights that just a single individual wouldn't typically have, as far as like time of day for posting or engagement, or being able to really dive into the data to be able to see what is producing results and then emulate that across your campaigns on a consistent basis. So if you're, if you don't have a Melissa on your team and you're just an integrator over here that's really trying to figure this out on your own, that's another reason too why it's so important, is because somebody like a One Firefly team has data and insights and things that they can really dive into to help you make informed decisions.
Okay. Well, I love it, you guys. That was fun. I thank you both for playing my little game with me. And we did tally up the score. And sorry, Katie, but Melissa took this one.
Of course she did.
So sorry.
Melissa, what do you want for your prize?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Your presence is present enough.
Don't promise things. I can't. No, Melissa, we'll send something your way.
Very nice.
All right. Well, let's dive in.
Okay.
We're diving. Okay. So we're going to dive in a little bit deeper here. So Melissa, when Wipliance started working with an agency, what changed in your team on your like day-to-day life? Like what's time saved, results, peace of mind? Like what was the initial impact that you felt?
Yeah. So, and we actually, before One Firefly, we'd worked with a different marketing agency. So I can kind of speak to, comparison a little bit. There are a lot of marketing firms out there that cater to all industries, and they have to get to know that industry very well. They have to understand their messaging, their target customer, all of these things that make their work effective, right? And One Firefly, because you are already in the industry, there is a lot of work that I did not have to do to communicate certain things. Now, every integrator is even still going to be different in terms of size of business and the kind of business that they want to take on. Not all of us are doing things like lighting yet, right? So there's messaging that is still going to be unique, but you know who Lutron is, you know what we're trying to target in terms of, homeowners. So there's a lot of benchmarks that were already handled. I would say that where we have grown is, again, as we continue to move the goalposts, right? Google keeps changing what they've decided is the new normal. That has continued to keep us a pace ahead of everybody else in our local markets in terms of how we're showing up on search engines. And, we know that that's still incredibly important with AI coming into it. We're starting to filter into AI results now because we were already being there. So, it's just, there's several things in terms of just staying one step ahead that I feel like we are now at versus working with a traditional firm, where things can be a little bit more stale. Now, I will say that was some years ago, you guys. We've got quite a relationship going now, right? But I do feel like even still the iterations of working with One Firefly, our scope today is very different from the scope that we had when we first started, because all these products are different. Google is different, right? And you guys do a good job of trying to stay ahead of that.
Well, I think you hit on something interesting there. So I'll go to Katie for this one. Katie, on your side of the table, what makes a great integrator agency relationship? What do you wish that all of our clients understood going in?
Yeah, well, first thing is trust, right? Trust is a must. That rhymes. Didn't even mean for that to happen, but it truly is. There has to be a level of transparency, teamwork, collaboration, and you really have to believe in the team that you've hired to help you with your marketing efforts. And, that kind of ties into the point that marketing is not a light switch, right? It takes time and consistency and collaboration to build real momentum. So being committed to the process and leaning in, even when you're busy, even when you have 1,000,001 things going on, is what is going to help make that great relationship. It works when there's mutual respect and accountability and truly just a shared vision for growth, would be another thing that comes to mind.
I'm hearing communication. That's what I'm hearing. Communication. Just keep the lines of communication open between all parties.
Yeah,
yes.
It is absolutely not plug and play. And it's not, coast mode either. Katie and I meet twice a month, at least. And there are conversations happening in between those meetings. There's content calendars being sent. It's important that I'm staying informed on what that team is doing so that I can make sure that it's what we would ultimately want to be doing, because it is an investment and it's one that we want to make sure that we're active with, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's put another fun one out here. Let's liven up this party for all of our listeners. Can you guys tell me, we'll start with you, Katie, give you time to think about it, Melissa. Katie, what marketing lesson have you had to learn the hard way? Did you have a fail or something you wish somebody told you sooner, or something funny happened to you out there in the world?
Oh, well, okay. So I do have, I'll share two, but make it really quick. So I really wish that somebody had told me sooner that success isn't about doing all the things, right? It's about doing the right things so that you have consistency that's based on strategy. Early in my career, I thought more was better, more posts, more blogs, more emails, more activity, all of those things. But over time, I realized that marketing without a clear purpose is truly just noise. So that is a true lesson that I think is important for people to understand. And then on the funny side, when I first started with One Firefly, I didn't even know that this industry existed, this audio-visual integrator industry. And so I was learning, drinking from a fire hose, just all the things within the industry. And I remember one time I was on the phone with a client and I was sharing my screen and I was doing some type of we were building out like a blog editorial calendar. And I just could not understand the difference between Sonos and Sonance. And he just was not having it. It was driving him absolutely nuts. And I just didn't know. And, so that's one of the things that I think some of the account managers and some of our team, when they come on board, there is a little bit of a learning curve sometimes with learning this industry. But again, that goes back to what makes a good partnership is just that trust and that collaboration and really just helping each other see it through, but I got chastised for that one. He's like, how do you work for this business and you don't know the difference between Sonos and Sonance, sorry.
Oh, they do sound similar, but
They
yes.
do.
Different.
Easy.
Well,
Yeah.
then just throw Sony in there too, right? And
I know.
So I think a major learning lesson for me was just continuing to adapt my tools. Tools get better and better, and not staying with the same tool just because it's what I'm comfortable with using. Like a perfect example is I'm a Photoshop girly, right? Like I've been in Photoshop for a really long time. There's things that I do in there that take way more time than they do in Canva. It's something that I've had to learn over the last year. It's like, okay, Canva is really a shortcut. It's not the perfect shortcut for everything all the time, but continuing to add those tools to my arsenal so that I'm not, that I'm able to do more fast, right? And I think AI is also starting to become more and more of a component of that as well, just in terms of not doing things the long and hard way, trying to figure out the shortcuts and the backdoors and things that allow me to get there twice as fast, but hopefully with the same amount of work done, right?
Yeah. What's the saying? Work
Smarter,
harder.
not harder.
Smarter, not harder.
Smarter,
Yeah.
not harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I learned something from both of you there. Not that I didn't expect you to have smart answers. I don't want to diminish that because I do expect that from you guys, but way above the bar that I thought we were hitting there. These are life lessons I'm taking from this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're kind of a great team. Yeah.
Kind of a little bit. That's why you're here. That's why we brought you in. We knew how good of a team you were. And lessons we're learning today. Okay, Melissa, speaking of lessons we're learning today,
Yes.
One Clients, you guys are known and you do some truly impressive video work, both from like short form highlight videos and really long in-depth project tours on your YouTube channel. Can you tell us a little bit more about the kind of the thought process behind those videos, what you guys are doing out there, why that's such a priority for your team, and the kind of impact you've seen from that?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So it also been an evolution as well. So it's been kind of fun to see that growth. The expression, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, if you have 1,000 pictures or 1,000,000 pictures contained in a video, how much information are you able to get across, right? And I've always found in our marketing, it's very hard to find one photo that shows a TV and shades and lights and all the things that we do, right? Like it's very hard. So you're either communicating that with like just luxury and people aren't sure what they're looking at, right? Or you take that up a notch and find other vehicles to communicate that, and video has been really powerful. It's evolved from B-roll, like just kind of looking at technology with fancy music, to hey, what if we talked on camera? And Lee has been on camera in almost every single one of our videos. We continue to bring people into the videos as well, which is really fun. Manufacturers are starting to pick up on it, so they're asking if we can partner and do something. We've developed a little bit of an editorial style, if you will, and a lot of that actually is very much in-house in terms of the creative control, editing, etc. Lee and I actually collaborate really personally on the messaging and what's the story, right? Why are we watching that? And I think that's become more and more important over the years as we get into, how do I put this nicely? A shorter attention span society. We have to get to the point right away, right? We've got maybe 5 seconds in the beginning of that video to capture their attention. So that's, I think, one of the biggest takeaways I've had in like the last couple of years, is that you really have to give them that boom at the beginning, and then maybe you can come back to a nice smooth intro, but you got to hook them.
I love what you said there. I think that's really important and really relevant. Before, when you're talking about updating your tools as time goes by, don't keep doing the same things, just are comfortable, adapt. Our culture has kind of changed the way that we consume content. Not only are the mechanisms that display that content or bring that content to you changing, but people's desire for content is much different than it used to be. And so I think adapting to that is really powerful.
Yeah, it's fun. I always like to say that I'm in every one of our videos, but I'm rarely on screen. I'm usually hiding behind a countertop or over in the chair,
I love it. You said
like
something
the
else.
boat video. when you're like in the boat, but you're laying down in the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like I've been caught on the drone before, like I can't always hide. And then I am actually in one of our videos in Ketra's headquarters tour in Austin, Texas. If you've ever seen me give a Ketra demo, that's something I'm also very passionate about as well. Just having really good quality light should be accessible to everyone. And Ketra has made a product that I love talking about. And so when we showed up at their Austin, Texas headquarters and I showed up ready, like camera ready, Lee's like, all right, I guess you can go on today. So, we did a safety take. We did one with me and one without me so that I could decide as a good editor whether I really wanted to be in it or not. But I ultimately decided that I did. So
I love it. I think
that was a great
you
one.
nailed something else there, and that's what we do is hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And video does a really interesting job of communicating what technology can do. All of our stuff moves. It automates. There's things are happening.
Yeah. When you press a button and you engage a scene and 4 or 5 things start happening, like that's a wow factor moment for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Katie, let's say someone out there is listening, because we know they are. What if they realize their current approach isn't cutting it? Whether that's they're not doing anything or what they're doing isn't just happening. It's not popping somewhere. What's the best place to start?
I would say a proper discovery and goal defining. I mean, definitely, you need to sit down, you need to understand what are your goals for the business? What are your revenue goals? What does success look like to you? And really start to dive that in, have a true discovery of what that looks like. And then you can start plugging and playing strategy around what that looks like. But the first thing is like, do you have your goals defined? And do you know what it is that you're trying to go after? So that's definitely the best place to start.
Melissa, for you, what's the best place to start?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say to Katie's point, you want to define things like your target customer. You want to know who you're trying to reach. You want to know where they are. And like in our different markets, for example, there are suburban areas, neighborhoods, specific thing. I can get very specific in terms of who I know I want to go after, but I have to be able to communicate that. And so I think that's the really important part, is having an idea of that. A perfect example is a very broad umbrella term in our industry is the word smart home, right? So I'm very careful about how I go about using that word in marketing, because you can blow through a budget really fast. There's a lot that can apply to a term like smart home. It's applicable. It has its place, but you have to really know how to execute that. So, I could say I want to go target smart home, but that's really not what I want to do, right? Because that ultimately applies to every smart widget that's out there today, including washers, dryers, and all kinds of other things. So, having that goal in mind, and then also having some idea of a budget. I mean, you're a business owner, you have many things to balance. You do want to know ultimately what you feel comfortable with spending. I would say that ultimately there is an investment here that is a long-term investment, and there are a couple of different buckets when I'm talking about my marketing investment. And an analogy I use quite often is like oven versus microwave methods, right? What's the slow bake? I'm investing certain things into my website that are going to live there forever and ever and continue to expand my presence online. That's not going anywhere. So that's a nice oven casserole, right? But then on the other side, I've got, Google ads and things like that. And that's a microwave method that's going to get me out there really fast. It may or may not be like, it doesn't last, right? Because I'm going through that budget every month. So knowing kind of the breakdown of what you want to spend on both sides of that, I think is really important, because that second number, the microwave number, I think is the one that can sometimes scare people, like it's just, you're spending it every single month. So knowing what you feel comfortable with that investment beforehand, and then get a marketing company's opinion in terms of what that will get you for that money, because you may be surprised that at a certain benchmark level, you can double your results, versus if you are under a certain threshold, it may or may not be effective at all. So, knowing kind of where that sweet spot is important, but just kind of going into that conversation, knowing what you feel comfortable with too.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Guys, go ahead.
No, I just said great point. Great point.
Thought you wanted to add something in there, Katie. I apologize.
No, you're good.
Guys, I learned a lot today, and I'm excited we had you both on because I think this is a really powerful conversation that kind of highlights knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. And the hardest thing for anybody to have to do is ask for help. So if people want to, based on your conversations today, or just to say hi, want to reach out to you, Melissa, where can people find you?
So I am on LinkedIn. I also manage all of our Wipliance social media. So if you end up shooting me a DM there, you may or may not get a response directly from me. And then, of course, on our email as well. Yeah.
Okay. And just for the people out there, Melissa is a Swiftie and has some cool cats. So if you guys want to chat with her about that, you're welcome to do that as well. Katie, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm also on LinkedIn as well. And I can be contacted here at One Firefly, or truly any social media avenue. I have all the socials. So
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to drop you guys out. All right. So thanks everybody again for tuning in to another episode of Automation Unplugged Marketing Experts. We'll see you next time.